Hi, Tile from Infidelity here. Today we're going to talk about a very unique and unusual headphone. This is the JPS Labs Abyss AB-1266 headphone. It's a very, very expensive headphone. This is $5,495. So a lot of you YouTubers can make plenty of comments about how outrageous that is. But there is a group of people, very high-end headphone enthusiasts, who spend lots and lots of money on very expensive headphones. And my task in this case is to figure out whether this headphone indeed does play well with these other very, very good headphones. A little bit about these headphones first. This is an all-aluminum design. It's a full-sized open design, so you can hear the surroundings around you. This headphone is unique in its construction and how it's adjusted. There is a pivot point up here with a slide that allows you to pivot the headphones back and forth and to increase and decrease the width of the headphones. And then the ear pads, which are significantly angled, are magnetically attached to the earpieces. There's small holes that it clicks into, and these can be rotated in order to effectively provide a tilt control to the pad. I found that I could not ever get it quite right using the adjustments here and on the head pad alone. They needed to be tighter at the bottom of my ears, and when I rotated the pad with the largest part at the bottom, because it's oval shaped, my ear didn't quite fit in there right. So I did very slightly bend the headphones inward, and that solved the problem. Once they're adjusted properly, they should gently seal on the ears, but not with too much pressure. And in that, once you get there, they're quite comfortable. I really was surprised how comfortable they were. This is an all aluminum construction, black anodized aluminum. It does have a leather headband and lambskin real leather ear pads. The construction is just pretty top notch in terms of materials and durability. It does come with two separate cables that are 8 feet long that use a mini XLR connector here, and these are JPS Labs cables specifically designed for these headphones using aluminium conductors. The other end of the cable is terminated in two Neutrik XLR connectors and a Y adapters for 1/4-inch phone jacks, and 4-pin balanced XLR connectors do come with the headphones. The accessories that come with these headphones are very, very nice. You get this headphone stand for them. Also comes with this leather carrying satchel that has a shoulder strap. And it comes with a wooden storage box for all of it. To do this test right, I really had to compare them to some of the world's best headphones. And in this case, I selected a Sennheiser HD800, which is about $1,200, the Odyssey LCD3, which is about $2,000, and the Stax SR009, which is about $5,000. For amplifiers, matching them properly with the amplifiers, I chose the ECP Audio L2, which is over there on the end, for the Sennheiser HD800s. And as an aside, I have to say this was a spectacular combination, really the best I've ever heard my HD800 sound. It's really a fabulous amp. Brought the HD800s up to a level where I feel it's very, very competitive with the other headphones in this review. The Hi-Fi Man EF6 headphone amplifier, which is a headphone amp designed with planar magnetic headphones in mind, and for the LCD3. And for the SR009, I used the Head Amp Blue Hawaii. This is a $5,000 amp, and it's really a fabulous, fabulous amp for the Stax SR009. I should make note here, before we get going, both of these, the LCD3 and the Abyss, are planar magnetic headphones, and you can see they're roughly the same size. The LCD3 has a magnetic configuration that's called an isodynamic magnetic structure. What that means is that the magnetic field in which the conductors on the diaphragm are immersed is of equal strength as the diaphragm conductors move through it. The Abyss is a single-sided design. The magnetic structure is on the inside closest to the ear, and then the diaphragm is outside the magnet, so the sound goes through the magnet to the ear. The advantage of having a one-sided magnetic structure is that the rear wave of the diaphragm does not have another structure to go through. It basically reduces the acoustic impediments to the sound relative to a two-sided magnetic structure. On the other hand, it is not an isodynamic magnetic field, meaning that as the diaphragm moves in and out, the strength of the magnetic field changes. Now, it's quite slight because the diaphragm doesn't move much, but it does change. And that asymmetrical magnetic field that the diaphragm is going through should, in theory, relative to the LCD3, create more second harmonic distortion. I did a test, and I'll pop up the image here, and it's not easy to see, but if you look closely, and if you go to the article at Inner Fidelity, and there's a link under the video to do that, you can see this diagram more fully. But the Abyss does have more distortion overall, but it does have a significantly higher percentage of second order distortion, and a lot of audiophiles will claim that second order distortion is more, or even order distortion is more musical than odd order distortion. That's a point that's arguable, but it's true that tube amps don't universally sound worse than solid state amps, and tube amps almost always have quite a bit more distortion than solid state amps. So it's one of those things where it imparts a certain character on the sound, and if you do it very, very well, it can be very, very enjoyable. And that, in fact, seems to be the case with these headphones. They are a wonderful sounding headphone. Very musical and bouncy. It really moves you right along. Very fun listening. It does have a slight U shape to the frequency response range from the mid bass to the upper mid range. It's quite slight, but it's there, and wasn't really readily audible when listening to these headphones alone, but when I switched between some of these other headphones and the AB-1266, I did indeed hear this headphone as slightly colored in that way. These are extremely fast sounding headphones, faster than the Stax 009, believe it or not. I was really taken aback by the speed of these headphones, and the ability to reproduce things like triangles and stuff like that is just extraordinary. The detail, like the nails of fingers strumming flamenco guitars and stuff, was extraordinary. But they also seemed to have a problem with a bit too much very high frequency treble grunge around these transitions. During simpler music, acoustic ensembles and those kinds of things, it wasn't too disturbing. In fact, in some ways it added a little sparkle to the sound, which was enjoyable. But in complex music, massed strings, brass sections, stuff like that, it did tend to get a bit confusing. So that was kind of troublesome. All in all, I found the Abyss to have great imaging, nearly as good as the HD800, which is one of the best imaging headphones I've ever heard, if not the best. Very nice sound of sense of spaciousness, although it wasn't, in fact, maybe a bigger sense of spaciousness, but it wasn't as precise as that on the HD800, maybe because of some of that treble grunge getting in there. I'll put them on here for a second so you can see it. Oops, I need to readjust a little bit because I adjusted them. Again, fairly comfortable and nice to wear. Great listen. Really, really enjoyed them. But and I do recommend them for the avid headphone enthusiast with a big wallet, and you can afford it without too much pain. But the trouble with the treble and the very, very high price tag is going to keep it off the wall of fame, though it's going to get a recommendation from me and a what we like sticker. It's been a lot of fun listening to these headphones, and I truly found these headphones to be a very, very unique listening experience, and I hope you get a chance to listen to one soon. Alright, we'll see you next time.